Money isn't real. Doesn't matter. It only seems like it does.
All right.
See, ladies and gentlemen, he's finally in the house. Yes, we are back. This is the Ruckus. We're going with an uncensored edition. This might not be on the radio, but if it is, it'll definitely be bleeped out a lot. And in the building, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy behind BasketballStudios on Instagram. Jesus Christ, man, you make me feel effing old.
Why is that?
Because you are 17, right?
Yeah.
I'm 23 and my hairline is going away. This guy's got a beautiful set of hair on his head. And not to mention, he's running one of the best pages to get your content in terms of NBA content on the social media platform that everyone wants to go to nowadays.
Yeah.
The man that hung out with, I was going to say busted. Wow. Buster. Man that hung out with, guy behind Dunk.
Yeah, Elliot on Dunk. So Buster on Hoops Nation, Elliot on Dunk.
Wow. I am clearly doing something wrong with my life.
I mean, not really. You're doing the right things. I mean, you're reaching out to people on social media to do interviews. Like, that's the biggest thing. I said on your episode before, like, for social media, the biggest thing is like actually talking to people instead of just like hiding in a shell. Because, like I said, there's so many people that like hide in the shell that just try to do it on their own. And that was like me though too. Was like I tried going on my own, and then I was like, I'm not gonna go anywhere if I just sit around and like be like, I'm the only person on this account. Nobody's ever gonna help me. I'm gonna be Superman. So cool. Yeah, I'm gonna run through a wall and just try to figure it out. I felt like Russell Westbrook for a little bit, just like running my head into a wall.
Rogue, bro. Call me Brody, son.
Not in a good way though. I'm talking about Russell Westbrook in a bad way. Like I feel like I was just like just going into this wall, not learning how to win in life, just like, trying to do everything on my own.
This sounds like the first 3 minutes of a Gary Vee like speech where he talks about like all the wrong and then goes in on it like content.
Yeah, because I was about to say whenever you're talking about like people, how they can get their stuff on my social media account, just as far as like, I try to be like all my pieces of content I'm going to make. So whenever somebody sees the account, if they are like impressed with the content, that's because I made it. But now it's like, sometimes it's like whenever the creative energy goes away that it's just like, all right, I don't know what I'm going to go whip up on Photoshop right now.
You got to outsource.
Yeah, you got to just look for other news. Especially like, man, I burnt myself out on Media Day. I mean, not Media Day, which it is Media Day, but trade deadline, which is Media Day.
So for those who don't know, Brett and I were talking during that entire endeavor, and I don't think I've ever seen someone complain so much about a trade deadline.
You want me to go on my tangent right now?
Ladies and gentlemen, the floor is Brett's.
All right. So I have this whole little utopia kind of played out and like a plan on how Media Day can... what camera am I on? That one? That one?
Both. We're both fixated.
All right, cool. So,
ladies and gentlemen, we are zooming in now.
All right, so my this is my little plan if I was Adam Silver. And if Adam Silver had some connections with the FBI. So if the FBI could hack into all the NBA players' phones and everybody associated with the media. So I don't care if you're Woj and people like standing on the outskirts of this little wall of the media. Anybody that can somehow go on Twitter and leak news needs to have their Twitter, everything on their phone somehow shut down that they cannot access any news to be leaked. We get 2 weeks extra of All-Star Weekend. And I feel like a lot of the average NBA fans that don't really care too much about news and aren't looking at Twitter are going to be like, whatever, like F off. But for the people that actually keep up with the NBA and that make a conscious effort of like caring about the NBA, if the FBI shut off everybody's phone, Adam Silver booked everybody a plane all the way around the world. And now we have a large Earth that, I don't know, Kyrie might have a different idea on how large our Earth is or anything, but if everybody could go around the great circle of an Earth that we have, a great round sphere, everybody spread out so you can't tamper, and just everybody is just on their own, maybe with their wives, whatever. We have 2 weeks of just complete silence is what I'm trying to get at. Nobody can go on Twitter. Nobody can go on social media. If LeBron James goes on social media taking a picture of his feet, we aren't going to make some rumor that, oh, he must be trying to get Kawhi Leonard to, the Lakers somehow.
His foot's in the sand of Mexico. Does he want to go play basketball in New Mexico?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, LeBron wants to go to Mexico to play basketball, people.
That's exactly what I'm saying. We just need to have 2 weeks of silence where we can all just meditate. It's 2019. We all meditate now with our Starbucks lattes sitting next to us. So,
I don't know why I thought of the Kendrick verse where he's like, levitate, levitate. And in my mind, I'm like, meditate, meditate, meditate.
Yeah,
meditate.
just meditate all around. You guys know the point I'm trying to get across. 2 weeks of complete silence after the All-Star game. We can all sit and think. There's no rumors we can make up. And we all just relax. And then we're actually excited for the second half of the NBA season.
It really sucks to say, but I think you can get this too. Because we are talking about the NBA constantly in terms of like creating content about it. And it's a job, Like, after a certain amount of time of seeing the same thing play out, like baseball, the season down the stretch, 182 games?
I don't know, something like that.
After the first 60, I'm like, bro, let's just get to the World Series already and call it the Red Sox.
Well, that's what the teams are doing with resting everybody.
Yeah.
They're just saying, all right, let's just get to the playoffs. Like,
literally.
LA's in Memphis. We're really going to play LeBron? We're in Memphis.
And see, that's the thing. Like, we just get so burnt out. And for people that don't understand, that aren't working in the media, and I consider us media in this sense, like, you're talking about it every day. You're living it. You're breathing it. The first thing I do in the morning is I make my breakfast and I'm watching First Take. Then I go read the news. I go watch, if I didn't watch a game, I go on the NBA YouTube channel and I watch the highlights from the last game. And it's like, you just get burnt out of this stuff. Like, I love it. Don't get me wrong. This is my passion. This is my job.
Yeah.
I want to be involved in the NBA and I want to do it.
Yeah.
But after so much time of seeing the same thing, it's no wonder these teams, fans can get mad at these coaches like Popovich for resting all these players all they want. But, you don't understand what these guys go through on a day in and day out basis. You just see the game that's nationally televised, or if you're a fan enough to buy League Pass and watch every game, there's practices every day, there's workouts, there's rumors, the trade deadline, signings in the offseason, where you're going to end up getting cut, you're going to get traded. There's so much stuff that goes into it that even us as media don't understand, but yet we're the ones also talking about it every day. And it's not bad. It's just God damn, it burns you out.
And it sucks to say that doing a Instagram job burns you out, but like I was saying, I stayed up till 4 a.m, waiting for Woj to tweet out about a trade. I was very underwhelmed with the trade deadline because last trade deadline, for one, the whole entire Cavs team was traded. Now I don't know if it was eventful for me because I'm a Derrick Rose fan, which means I was very mad whenever he was in Utah for the no time that he was in there, but. Other than that, I just feel like last trade deadline, I was like, wow, a lot of stuff is happening. Blake Griffin was traded right before the trade deadline, a week before.
No one expected that.
Yeah, no one expected that. And that's blockbuster. Although he's not an all-star, whatever, he's an all-star in the sense. What the biggest blockbuster we got was Tobias Harris. And that's maybe it. And then people are going to say Markelle Fultz. Well, yeah, Gasol, but... Then whenever Markelle came out, for some reason Instagram went on a storm. LeBron just got traded. I was like,
because it's the number 1 overall pick. There was so much hype built around this kid. Yeah, that you can't help but talk about it because it's also this kid has an injury in terms of the yips. I've never experienced it. I didn't know what it was until I read about it, and it's the guy forgot how to shoot.
I know.
And he was so good in college. I watched, before the Celtics were going to that draft with the first pick, I'm like, all right, I got to study this. Watched him play. Ridiculously good player. Although the team wasn't a winning team, there's a reason why his pro comparison was James Harden.
Yeah, and whenever he played in college, which I wasn't very high on him because, not saying that it doesn't need, you have to have a team in college in order to win. But what was he, 9-26 in college?
9-22, I think.
All right, something along those lines. It doesn't take that much to at least be 500 in college. Like if
Well, he wasn't D1 either.
I know, and it's like say like high school ball, which I know that's even more of an extreme. If there's like one D3 guy on a team, him single-handedly can beat you.
By the way, I want you to know that Brett averaged 29.6 points per game, 16.6 rebounds per game, and 5.6 assists in high school. Freshman year, varsity point guard.
Freshman year, I was like 10 inches shorter than I am right now, and I didn't play a minute on my freshman team. So,
Wah,
yeah, no, the hoop dreams, man.
Yeah, bro, you're looking at me. I'm Jewish. I have Jewish knees. My basketball dreams died literally after like the first dunk I ever had. I literally came down. I'm like, I get fouled. Guy pushes me forward. Knee bends, and I'm like, welp. That's all, folks.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's whenever I knew I needed to create an Instagram account if I wanted a future in basketball.
And look, you're doing it. I mean, it's paying off. I mean, you hung out with Buster, you hung out with Elliot, you're making moves, you're at 50K followers.
Well, this is an accomplishment. Like, I know you're going to downplay your size, but, like, obviously I wouldn't be here if I thought it was a waste of time to be here.
Where, in LA?
No, in this room right now.
Oh.
So
it's
like,
a waste of time, though.
No, it's not. Not at all. Like, if you were just some, like, average Joe, like, hey, like, come hang out in my house, I'd be like, for one, I don't know you.
You'd be like, were you featured on To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen? Like,
why do you have like 37 followers?
Because and I go and look at people's TikToks all day and night and wonder what I'm doing wrong with my life.
And I mean, doing Instagram's fun, but there's also more to life than Instagram too. Like, and I don't know why people think, like, I know you think like 50,000 followers, whatever, but like, at the end of the day, you're just an average human being. Like, whenever I met up with Elliot, Buster, and like, I'm not someone. You guys can call BS on me for this all you guys want. If Kevin Durant pulled up to my house, I wouldn't care. Like, if they knocked on my door, I'd be like, hey.
Yeah, because they ain't Derrick Rose or MJ.
If I was just about to say, if it's Derrick, now Derrick is the reason why I'm on Instagram. Derrick's the reason why I'm into basketball, which that's like a little more of like damn, like meeting up with Derrick. Like, that's the guy that like put me on or whatever. And he doesn't even know who I am. So it's like, whatever. But you know, somebody like that has actually done something for me is different. But like LeBron, what has he done? Just seem like a cool guy dunk and like do some pretty cool stuff in basketball. But at the end of the day, these guys are basketball players.
They're people.
They're just average people that are good at something that we all like.
Yeah.
So like, if you're into business, you're gonna love Gary Vee. Whoever's in there. If you're an entrepreneur, you're gonna love him. But at the end of the day, he's just really good at business, and obviously he's a good person. That's why.
Sorry, you just got done ripping a bong.
Shut up. Guys, I've never done anything illegal in my life. And as I'm smiling right now, I'm actually honest too. So like, I'm like the biggest angel saint that you'll ever run across. But anyway.
I've only had 2 experiences when I met players where I was like,
Yeah, but like I went to a Memphis Grizzlies game. It was against the Knicks and Derek didn't play.
R.I.P.
And neither did Carmelo or Porzingis. It was in Memphis too.
No wonder they didn't play.
It was the second to last game of the season too.
So it was nothing then.
Yeah. I met Marcus Gasol and Walt Frazier, and like I was just like, it was so weird. I was kind of like disappointed at myself that I wasn't more starstruck. Like I thought like if I met Marcus Gasol, I'd be like, damn, like there's Marcus Gasol. But like I was like, hey, can I get a picture? Yeah, got a picture. Never gonna put that picture on the internet because like me 2 years ago is like crazy. It's crazy.
Oh boy. Me 2 years ago, all it is a fuller head of hair.
Well, I mean, yeah. We're just talking about,
life, man. So like the first time.
Who have you all met together? Which I know, like, you just posted Will Smith on your Instagram, so you probably have a good list of people.
Well, I mean, like, off the top of my head, I can't really think of a lot of people. Like, I mean, it's not to sound like, cocky or anything, but being where I live.
Okay, who cares? You met really cool people. Like we all understand. Like you don't need to worry about justifying that you're an average person.
Like where I live, like it allows you to meet people without really having to go out of your way to meet people. And like honestly, the mall that I would go to as a kid, the mall where that whole active shooter stuff happened, is the mall I've gone to since I was a little kid, and that's where I've met a ton of people. Like I have photos with. You heard that. I guess it's easier to say, like, I don't know, off the top of my head, Will Smith, the guy from the Old Spice commercials.
Oh, okay.
Miss Canada, that was all the same day. Who else? I've met Pierce. And funny story about that is that was one of the experiences where I actually, like, stopped having that, like, okay, I know I've made it. Like, this is just normal people, you know? That was like in the beginning of this year, I met Pierce doing an interview for a friend of ours named Ashley Neville. And I was doing production for it, you know, did all the video editing, did all of the filming, all the audio stuff, everything for that, made the ads and whatnot. And I'm sitting there and I walked in and I'm like, I see Pierce and I'm like, all right, I get it. Like,
well, I think there's something with somebody. There's somebody with like a Paul Pierce that they bring this like aura around them. Because like whenever you see Paul Pierce, you don't expect them to be some 6'8" dude. You just see like, if I thought about meeting Paul Pierce, I wouldn't expect this 6'8" guy that was an NBA player. But then like, you just know him. You're seeing the truth. You're seeing the great shots on the Celtics. So like, obviously it's understandable. Like whenever you see him, it's like.
Well, I went back to the hookah lounge with Michael and a couple people on Saturday night, and I ran into him then, and we got to chatting for a little bit, and it was completely normal, and that was that first time I met him. So, like, I'll get back to the main story where I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But it was when I first met him where I'm like, all right, you know, this is the industry I want to work in. Like, these are just people. Like, I think I've finally become comfortable being around NBA players without having that weird, you know, mental state of like, oh my God, you know, like the time that it really hit me was the first real thing that I did, which was filming the UCLA runs with Ashley and going to talk to players. But that was because the entire gym was filled. I'm talking about KD, Russ, Harden, the entire Toronto Raptors, Gobert, Terrence Jones, guy who was on the Bulls that started the fight with Nikola Mirotic, Bobby Portis.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like,
the
everyone was there. Everyone was there. That photo that you saw where LeBron was working out with Kawhi this summer at UCLA, like, that was taken the day that we were there in a different gym. And it was when we walked in, I told Michael, like, look, man, I know it's going to sound weird, but I am starstruck at the moment. And it's not because it was like, oh, you know, it's Russ, it's KD. It's because there's literally 70, 80 basketball players that I all know, can tell you name for name, can tell you most of their stats.
Well, it's almost,
right there.
You're almost more starstruck whenever you see somebody that's not LeBron. Whenever you see a random Jordan Clarkson walk in, you're like, dude, what are you doing here? I did not expect to see you. Like, if somebody said LeBron's going to be here, the whole day you're preparing to see LeBron. But like I said, if a Jordan Clarkson, if just some random guy, even like a Tyus Jones walks in, you're like,
oh, wait, what?
Like damn, Tyus Jones? Like you just don't expect to see those type of guys.
I feel like it's also because LeBron has shown so much of himself that he's more relatable as a person, whereas guys like Tyus Jones, you don't really know much about. So when you see him, you're like, you don't really know much about the individual. So you're bound to just kind of act like, oh.
I mean, that's why I'd be weird about Derek. I mean, you'd never see anything about Derek unless you're
keeps it low key.
I mean, doesn't have an Instagram. His management runs his Twitter. The reason why I know that is like, just look at the way everything's typed out.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just the average like Isaiah Thomas person tweeting. It's like, oh, thanks to whatever company for sending me this. And it's like, it's not Derek running it.
See, that's the thing. You actually mentioned the one player I would get starstruck, but not in a way of like I'm acting weird, but like overly amped to me, and that's Isaiah Thomas. I love him. I'm
really?
telling you. There is no one more that I love after the Big Three era, and including this man, Rondo, than Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas was the bridge between the downward years that we had after the Big Three where we had Keith Bogans, we had Gerald Wallace, we had Chris Humphreys. Like, that's how much of a diehard Celtic fan I am. I'm watching those games every game, night in and night out. And here we have Isaiah Thomas come in the picture, and he was a ball of energy, the, like, nicest guy. Like, what you want to be a representative of your organization is Isaiah Thomas, and he was still... Like, I'm hoping that this injury is, he's getting back into the groove of things and swing of things for himself, but, like, back then, he was literally the man. There's a reason why he was in MVP voting. There's a reason why everyone loved him in Boston. Like, you still talk to Celtics fans, and you bring up Isaiah Thomas, you get nothing but smiles.
You're going to kick me out whenever I say this. There was a post I had in the summer of most annoying people on social media that all had NBA players.
Hey.
You guys recording here?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're live. Love you, Dad. And it was my dad, ladies and gentlemen.
Didn't know if that was your dad or not.
Yeah, he looks like Heisenberg from Breaking Bad.
All right. So back to you about to kick me out right now. I had an Instagram post in the summer. I'm sorry, dude.
See? Told you took 2 rips.
I'm kind of sick. So I had a post. Nah, it's like allergies. I'm not gonna go like, oh, your house is fine.
Let me get the Master Chief.
Oh my God. All right. So there was a post of most annoying NBA players on social media, and I put Isaiah Thomas on there.
Why you gotta do him like that? He's so sweet.
Do you want me to explain why?
No, because it's all bullshit.
He the way he advertises himself on social media that he's still a top 5 point guard in the NBA annoys the hell out of me.
When healthy, Isaiah Thomas is.
As a Derrick Rose fan, I can say when healthy, he's not a top 10 point guard in the NBA.
When Derrick Rose is fully healthy, he is a top 5 point guard.
I don't think so.
We're talking also a couple years ago. Isaiah Thomas is a year and a half out of the injury. Derrick Rose is... The first injury was 2011, right?
Yeah, in 2012.
2012, and that was the Philly game?
Philly game, yeah.
Yeah, so 2012. Mind you, that's almost 7 years ago.
But,
Isaiah is a year and a half.
But they're both like 30 years old. Which means 7 years from now, Isaiah Thomas is going to be like 37. He's not going to be some...
And he'll be the MVP.
But so he was like the one he wasn't like... He was a no-brainer putting on there, I'm not going to lie. Just for the fact that whenever he just said that Boston was going to have a championship...
Did you hear what he said just recently?
That they were going to have a championship if he was still on the Boston Celtics.
Yeah. And you know something?
They're not.
I believe it. And that's no slight against Kyrie. That isn't. That is no slight against him.
That's not my if we look at it from a basketball perspective, in no way is a team winning a championship if he's a starting point guard playing 37 minutes a game. Because the fact that Stephen Curry can back him down is not a good thing.
You have Marcus Smart for that. You have Jaylen Brown for that. You have Marcus Morris for that.
Okay, then you're going to put Isaiah Thomas on a bigger person?
No, you take him out. You put him in for the last 5 minutes.
What I'm talking about is the first 44 minutes. Anybody can back him down. He is a big defensive liability, and that's like no knock against him. It's just I love.
We thought Kyrie was a defensive liability, and remember everyone knocked him on his defense, and look at how he's playing.
I understand.
The Celtics were 1st or 4th in defense with Isaiah on the roster. Okay?
All right, yeah, that's pretty good. You got me on that one.
Like, Isaiah Thomas, and it's no slight against Kyrie, it's purely because they had him on the roster, continuity was built, and they would just be adding in.
Mm-hmm.
You bring in Kyrie, who's a completely different breed, and you have to adjust. Isaiah Thomas was loved by fans, by the players, by everyone. And we backed him.
Yeah.
100%.
No, I fully agree. Like, everybody should back him. And I don't like not like Isaiah. It was just that Instagram post. But as a person, I'm not going to be all...
He doesn't like you.
Nah, like, I don't like Kyrie, but I'm fine with Isaiah, you know? And you can vouch for me on this one. Kyrie, the way he's been acting...
No comment.
All right. We can talk social media about whatever, but there's more to life than social media.
Literally, my thing is if you don't like how these media members are asking you questions, just pull the same maneuver that, of course, now I'm going to blank on his name. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
But I 100%.
Marshawn Lynch.
There's an excuse. I'm perfectly fine with people acting like the way Kyrie did to the media. But don't act that way to the media if you give them a reason to act that way. The guy wore a denim jacket like what I'm wearing with a Knicks logo on the sleeve with Boston on the front. But you're going to act all mean to the media whenever they ask you why a Knicks logo was patched onto your sleeve. That's the stuff. You're really going to talk to Kevin Durant saying 2 max slots. It's time while you're in the tunnel, fully geared up, and you don't think a video camera's there. You did it to yourself, Kyrie.
Hey, all I'm going to say is there were some reports that came out to be interesting. They weren't referring to the Knicks. They were referring to the fact that,
Gordon Hayward's getting traded.
This summer, Tatum, Hayward, a couple other players could get shipped to NOLA, and they could get Davis.
The worst thing Boston could ever do is trade Jason Tatum for anybody.
Okay, wait. I want you to repeat that and look in the camera.
Which one?
Both, whatever. Which
All right.
one?
Jason Tatum. No. Boston, if you trade Jason Tatum, it's the worst thing that will ever happen to your franchise.
Now, I want you to tell them exactly what I've been saying for the last 4 or 5 months about that.
What have you been saying?
The exact same effing thing.
Oh, okay. So you're agreeing with me. I didn't know if you were like, look at the camera and say that with a straight face.
No, I've said it from the get-go. Jason Tatum is the truth, the next truth for the Celtics.
It's not because even if he doesn't become this Hall of Famer, which I think he just becomes just a good all-star, would you rather have 4 years of Kevin Durant all-starness or like the next 15 years of all-star? That's all I'm saying. We're talking about planning for the future. Obviously, if you said right now, I would of course give up Jason Tatum for Kevin Durant. But that means within the next 4 years, that if Kevin Durant leaves after like the 4-year contract, that must mean like under the contract, whenever Jason Tatum signed, that means he's coming right back. Like you can't give up Jason Tatum with his potential. And even Jason Tatum as a player right now for the next 15 years, I'd rather have than KD for the next 4.
100%.
Just for 100%. The fact that, and he works in the system. Obviously, he wants his points. All right. Huh?
Oh, I was saying 1 more minute.
Oh, like until this is all wrapped up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cut all that out. Now we have like a minute and a half.
Okay, now people, the point has been clear. Oh, I'm pushing the mic away. The point has been clear. The point has been made. Jason Tatum should stay a Boston Celtic.
Facts.
All right. Well, Brett, we're going to play one last game.
All right, cool.
If you had to pick one player to punch and then one player to get a drink with, who is it?
Punch. Get a drink with. Okay, what do you mean by getting a drink with? As far as like
chilling.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if you're like we need to party it up with some player. All right, so one player I would chill with, Derrick Rose, just so I can pick his brain, whatever.
God, you really are a Derrick Rose fan.
Oh yeah,
that's no slight though. That's not me giving a slight. I love Derrick Rose.
Greatest story in NBA history. As far as
happen.
As well, it's never happened. But then after all the injuries, and he just come out on a 50-point night.
Yeah,
that's like, and then to have this type of like 18 a game year, and then one player to punch LeBron James for the fact that you came into LA thinking that you were just going to become the GM, and now that's biting you so hard.
I love it. That makes me so happy.
It's biting him so hard right now. Team's falling apart. You're not a top 3 player in the NBA. Paul George, Kevin Durant, Giannis, over you.
Okay. One player to have a drink with. Active. I guess we're going active.
You can do active and then pass because my active and pass is going to be the same person.
All right. Pass would be. I'm going to go contemporary just because I'd love to hear his story, and you don't really hear much about it, and that's Brandon Roy. Okay. I've loved Brandon Roy since like the Blazer days. Like we're talking LaMarcus Aldridge and what could have been with Greg Oden, like those squads, Wes Matthews, like Brandon Roy was legit. Like
nasty. Gilbert Arenas,
type of god. Yeah, like ungodly level of like talent. Pure raw talent.
Yeah.
I remember watching the Houston game where he rolled off of a screen, was the buzzer beater, just comes out far, like we're talking at least 5-6 feet beyond the 3-point line, and just turns around and knocks it down with ease. And I'm like, this guy, Brandon Roy was what James Harden is now before James Harden.
And like freakishly athletic.
Yeah.
And a good defender.
Yeah. And like not turnover prone, showed up in the playoffs. A good teammate. Never had anything bad said about him. Didn't do terrible State Farm commercials.
Probably more unpredictable than James Harden. You know James Harden's going to do a shitty step back.
Yeah, but like Brandon Roy's game, although Harden has like the moves down pat to like make those moves and do it consistently, right? And he's also left-handed, so that helps. Brandon Roy literally could do anything on the court and it would go in the basket.
It was almost like Russell Westbrook shot tendencies with James Harden percentages.
Yeah.
Because you never know whenever Russ is going to pull it from half court.
And Brandon Roy could knock it down consistently.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a question. Like he had the green light 100% of the time. So I'd get a drink pass player with Brandon Roy. Current player, God.
Kelly Oubre.
Bruh. Honestly, it's between two players, and one is super low key, and the other one is super obvious because we've already talked about him. I would get a drink with either Marcus Smart because he's super low key. I'd love to learn more about him. He's been he's now the longest tenured Celtic. He was the 6th pick in the draft the year that the rigging for Wiggins stuff was going on. And I was on the Wiggins bandwagon for the Celtics. And honestly, like I think we got the best bet of that draft, like in terms of like Wiggins, Parker, and him. Like we scored really well.
Yeah.
And Randall also was great in that draft. He was the 7th pick. But I'd love to get a drink with Marcus Smart and just kind of learn more about him. I mean, shit, like I'll say it on camera. Like I'd smoke a blunt with Marcus Smart because he seems chill as hell.
Maybe ask Terry Rozier if you could get a drink with him why he has the worst tattoo in NBA history on the back of his head.
No, I think it's a haircut.
No, it's a tattoo. It was on GQ. It's 317 on the back of his head because that's his birthday. And
I'm not insulting him for one reason. He made it out of Kentucky. Terry, if you are listening to this, I'm a diehard Celtics fan. You made it out of Kentucky. I went to school in Lexington, right across from UK. I went to Transy. I get it. When you make it out of Kentucky, it doesn't matter if you're from Louisville. It doesn't matter if you're from UK. You still made it out of Kentucky, and I still respect it.
Boston fans are going to hate me after this. I just noticed that. Like, I talked bad about Isaiah, Kyrie, and I just said Ted.
Because he's a schmuck. But the other player that I would get a drink with, which I said was super obvious, and that is Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
Like, he seems like such a fun guy, a good and genuinely kind-hearted person. Like, I sound like I'm really talking him up and I'm like fangirling in this sense, but I have so much respect for that man.
Well, somebody like Isaiah, because it's weird. If we're going to talk about the two players to get a drink with, that's the same height as him. My second person, without a doubt, Nate Robinson.
I like Nate. I
just like his whatever, like his mentality. But I don't want to go on a whole tangent. We all know about Nate Robinson.
He was great with the Celtics, man. That team should have won.
Well, he was great with the Bulls. Tom Thibodeau somehow made him an all-star in the playoffs.
He was good with the Warriors too that year that he was with them.
I don't know. That year was good, but like that 15 points a game he had consistently.
In the playoffs too.
I mean, he had some 27, 29, 23-point games in the playoffs against Miami.
He's honestly like, we talk a lot about like some of the active point guards, but like people don't give Nate a lot of respect. Like they just remember him as the guy that won the dunk contest like 2 or 3 times. But that dude could score from anywhere. Like, he really did have a green light.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about Brandon Roy with a green light.
Well, that's why he was going around teams, though, is because there's coaches that said he doesn't listen. He doesn't have the green light, but he gives himself the green light.
He's got the yellow light or the stop sign. He's still going for
he's yielding. Yield for Nate Robinson.
But yeah, I'm getting my drink either with Isaiah or Marcus, and then I'm getting a drink with B. Roy. And I didn't get my player I'd punch.
Yeah.
Player I'd punch in the face.
But then maybe be friends with after. Like, you're frustrated with him. Like, I'd punch LeBron, but, like, I'm cool.
Try and get that clout.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I'm 21, give me some good wine.
Yeah.
You know?
Or just send it to him now and tell him that it's grape juice. Player I punch? Oh, man. There are a lot of players that really frustrate me.
Just name them all. Be top 5 players you punch.
I punched Dwight Howard in the face.
Oh, gosh.
And
You can't say that in
really
2019, dude.
Bro, I know it will backfire. Like, he's literally going to call me out. But, like...
No, he won't speak on it. He hasn't spoke on anything yet.
Yeah, that's true. And the irony is with all this news... you know what? I'm not going to speculate on this news. That's not my job. That's not my place. But I will say the one funny thing that came out of it all after that news came out was that he was out with butt soreness. Mm-hmm. Yep. Still hasn't
out for
played.
the season.
Yeah, with butt soreness. And I'm like... this is just really bad timing.
Has he missed 69 games yet?
Yeah. Knee slap. Wait. Oh, yeah. Oh, you heard my knee crack? I told you I had that Jewish knee, bro. Oh, man. Dwight Howard, I'd punch in the face. But that's also solely because he came to L.A., he toyed with the Lakers. Literally, like, it didn't work out with him and Kobe. And yet he went to Houston where he was playing with Kobe Jr. and James Harden at the time.
Yeah.
And, like, you couldn't make that work. Like, really?
Yeah, then you play with Kemba. You can't make that work. You play with Jeremy Lin, and you can't make that work.
You remember that video I made where it's like, I'm just excited to be here and represent my city, and it was him showing each jersey introduction for, like, the last 5 years?
Oh, yeah.
Lakers, Hornets, Hawks, Rockets.
You were the one that made that?
Yeah.
Oh, my. I think that... Did that blow up? Because I feel like I saw that. Like,
it did. It was funny.
I'm happy to be here.
So that... I'd punch Dwight Howard in the face. I'd punch... who else would I punch? This person I would slap upside the head and say, what the fuck were you thinking? And that's with LaMarcus Aldridge. And it's not because he's a bad guy or a bad player. But I mean, slap him upside the head because it's like, why did you leave Portland? Like, I get money. But you literally...
That team was nasty.
Yeah. And imagine him right now with Lillard, McCollum, and the team they have.
They had Batum, Wesley Matthews. I know there's going to be people that are going to be like, who are those people?
But they were good.
Robin Lopez. And that 5 was legit. Whenever you had Lillard, Matthews, Batum, Robin Lopez, and LaMarcus Aldridge, those players as like a whole is what I compared to the 2012 Chicago Bulls. Whenever you had Rose, Rip Hamilton, you had Boozer, Dang.
You had a well-rounded team.
You just had a team that everybody was on that floor for like a reason. Like everybody did their job and everybody was just cool with each other.
Yeah.
That team was dope. And I think that a team that's like that right now is the Jazz.
Yeah.
There's like Joe Ingles in 5 years, if he's on another team,
Dude,
people are going to...
is so good.
He's so good, but if he's on another team, nobody's going to notice. If he's on some trash team, nobody's going to care about him. But his fit with that Utah Jazz team, Gobert, doesn't need shots. Whatever. I don't want to go on like an hour-long tangent over like all these people, but, you know, that just great fit, well-rounded teams.
All right, I have one more.
All right, cool.
And this is for different reasons, but we're going with the same person. I got LeBron James I'd punch in the face. I'd punch him in the face very mildly because I know, one, I would get sued up the wazoo, and because he's living in the same city as me, and I really don't want an issue. And I'm a Celtics fan. I really don't want an issue.
Rich Paul sends you out of here.
Yeah, literally.
Rich Paul deports you.
Yeah, somehow that man gets like a restraining order of like 5,000 feet or like just some ungodly amount, like 5,000 miles or something like that, and I have to go to like hang out in Japan and stay low for a little while and just like do some weird ass shit. But like, you come to Los Angeles, like you said, you put all these expectations, and I'm not going to discredit the fact that you have an injury, but you just look so dissatisfied. You seem more interested in your business deals like the shop, Blaze, Space Jams 2, than actually playing for the organization that shelled out a ton of money for you to join.
I mean, we thought he looked bad the last couple games he was on the Cavs. I didn't know he would look this bad. Like, he looks like worse than he did whenever he was like rubbing his head on the bench on the Cavs.
He looks like all those years of playing plus the playoff years have added up to the equivalent of like 25 years of wear and tear on his body.
I know. I mean, mental is a huge part of basketball. Like, that's why players are able to have longevity. It's not just because, you know, their body's great, but mental. It's all mental. Basketball is, so.
And LeBron James is a mental nut. But
Yep.
on that note, we got Brett from Basketball Studios in his house. Yes, I just said that. I'm the whitest person on camera right now, but that's okay. He's in Los Angeles. We're going to live it up. We're going to put out some awesome content. So go and give him a follow, give him a like, give him a shout, whatever makes you happy. Check him out on Instagram at Basketball Studios. Brett, thank you for stopping by and causing a ruckus.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Oh, God, that sounded disgusting. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to all my social media accounts. That is at HeimsWorld on Instagram, at Alexander Heims on YouTube, at Alexander_Heims on Twitter, and at Alexander Heims on Facebook. I know that's a lot to take in, but it's okay. You can do it, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good one, and we'll catch you next week on The Ruckus.
Money isn't real. Doesn't matter. It only seems like it does.